I Have a Dream is a speech that was delivered on August 28th, 1963 by Baptist minister and civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. In the speech, King outlined the long history of racial injustice in America and encouraged his audience to hold their country accountable to its own founding promises of freedom, justice, and equality for all. He called for civil and economic rights and an end to racism and segregation in the United States. King encouraged the use of nonviolent protests. Martin Luther King Jr. was one of the most iconic figures, and this was one of the most iconic speeches of the civil rights movement. He addressed 200,000 people in Washington, D.C., and famously shared his dream of an America where his children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. King references the Emancipation Proclamation as a great beacon light of hope for slaves who were experiencing injustice, but passionately argued that despite this hope, a lot more work was required for African Americans to be truly free in their own country. In his I Have a Dream speech, King tells his listeners that now is the time to fight for democracy and for brotherhood, and explains that the struggle is just beginning. He also tells the crowd that the fight has to be one with dignity and nonviolence, keeping the ultimate goal in mind. King urged his listeners to continue to have faith and not wallow in the valley of despair. He shared that he has a dream that the nation will rise up and become truly equal, and one day there will no longer be injustice or oppression.